Hi and welcome to Terry Talks Movies. This time around I'm going to be talking about what you do between Christmas and New Year as far as movie watching is concerned. Here in Australia, and where I live, particularly in this part of Australia, the time between Christmas and New Year is a bit of a lost time. Yes, you can go out, the weather's beautiful, but if you go out you're going to be around millions of people. If you go to the shopping centres, all of the post-Christmas sales run, so it's crazy crowded there. If you go to the cinema is full of people that don't usually go to the cinema and who crowd around, and you want to do a bit of social distancing for obvious reasons. And also, worst of all the good cafes close between Christmas and New Year. So what else you got to do? You're going to stay home and watch movies, right? So what I thought I'd do is I'd recommend some movies for you to watch at that time when you're eating all the leftovers from Christmas and you don't want to move very much, and particularly in the northern hemisphere, you're ass deep in snow. So it's a good time to watch movies. So I've got a bunch of different movies I'm going to recommend here, and we'll just see how we go. Now, first off, my favourite westerns. Got to watch all 6 of these, and nicely enough, Umbrella Entertainment have them all. They're the westerns that Randolph Scott did with director Bud Boetticher in the 1950s and 1960s. And between them, they're known as the Ranown Westerns because Ranown was their production company. And they are fantastic. The westerns are, I'll do them one at a time: 7 Men from Now, Buchanan Rides Alone, The Tall T, which is based on a story by Elmore Leonard, Decision at Sundown, which I like because it's got a real moral complexity to it. The last one of them is Comanche Station. That's the most recent one. And probably the best of them, Ride Lonesome. Now, the Renowned Westerns are, for me, fantastic because the stories are concise. The Westerns aren't very long. I don't think there's one of them that goes much over 90 minutes. But Boetticher and Scott filmed them in the Alabama Hills in California, and it's a beautiful location for movies. And there's a moral complexity to the characters. There's a feeling for the characters' lives before the movie starts and after the movie ends. And I like that. And in many of the westerns, the bad guy is a dark mirror of the hero. And the hero is never unambiguously a good guy. And all of these 6 are really worth checking out. Now, Umbrella has them really cheaply. And if you wait for an Umbrella sale, you're going to get them even cheaper. Yes, they are Region B, but if you've got a multi-region player, you're doing fine. The other thing you can do is some of them are on Tubi.tv, and you might be able to watch them there. And I think, which ones have I seen there? I know that Ride Lonesome was on Tubi, and I think Decision at Sundown. So you can get your taste in before you buy them. But for me, they're the kind of distilled essence of a Western. They are just the best. I can go back and rewatch them and appreciate the screenwriting, the acting, the locations, and the way Boetticher films those particular locations. They are highly recommended. The next thing I've got is, I think I've mentioned this before on the channel, but I'm going to re-watch all of these. They're German kind of crime action films from the 1960s, starring a Hollywood actor who left Hollywood because he was hounded for his sexuality. The actor's George Nader, and they're the Jerry Cotton movies, which are all made in Germany, but they purport to be in America. And so you've got German locations substituting for America. There are a couple of movies where they did a bit of location shooting in New York City, but for the most part, these ones are really interesting artifacts of the 1960s. I'll give you a look at a couple of the covers. There's one there, and there's one there, which will give you a good idea of the kind of product we're talking about. They're a lot of fun. They're not to be taken seriously. They've got some nice stunt work in them as well. And by the way, you do get a booklet about the series, but it's in German, so you may have to sit there with Google Translate and copy the images and try to understand what they're about. But these ones I picked up on eBay for not too much money, and I like them. I think that if you're into European crime movies of the 60s, they're something you should check out. Wonderful soundtracks by Peter Thomas, who was a really prolific film composer in Germany during the 1960s and 1970s. And they're a lot of fun. And they are good. The soundtrack itself is available if you look around as well. And they're really kind of groovy, loungy kind of stuff with some really odd marching band kind of music thrown in. It's a really odd little artifact and an odd moment in time. There was a modern Jerry Cotton movie made in Germany, but I don't know much about it. I think it may have been a pastiche in the same way that the OSS Son Decept movies were. But these ones, I only got them on DVD, I don't have them on Blu-ray. But the quality of the transfers is very good, and the use of German locations to substitute for American locations makes it even more interesting. So those are a recommendation from me. And while we're on the subject of German oddities, the Dr Mabuse collection with Gert Frobe in there. This one's got The Return of Dr Mabuse from 1961, The Invisible Dr Mabuse from 62, The Death Ray Mirror of Dr Mabuse from 1964. These ones are kind of weird and wonderful. Dr Mabuse, of course, started out a century ago with Fritz Lang's Dr Mabuse the Gambler. And this is the series that gave us the evil mastermind trope in cinema. And then in the early 1960s, was it the early 1960s? In 1960, Fritz Lang had another go at Dr. Mabuse after about a 30-year period where he didn't make Mabuse movies, with The Thousand Eyes of Dr. Mabuse. This one is from The Masters of Cinema. This one I like a lot as well. It's really a groovy kind of oddity in crime/spy drama. All of the Dr. Mabuse movies are worth watching, but these ones have got that 1960s vibe that I'm into at the moment, and so I'm watching those as well. Next category I've got for you is movies that are Christmas movies in spite of the fact that some people think they're not Christmas movies. The biggest one of those, of course, is Die Hard. I will not truck any opinions saying it's not a Christmas movie. It's got family, it's got Christmas trees, it's got Alan Rickman falling off a building. Nothing about this is not a Christmas movie, and I love it for that reason. I actually did a video about how I once won $500 watching Die Hard, and I'll post a link to that at the end of the video. But apart from that, Shane Black action films set at Christmas time are the way to go. The next one I've got for you is Kiss Kiss Bang Bang with Val Kilmer and Robert Downey Jr. Not going to tell you anything about this apart from see it. The characters are fantastic. The setups are terrific. The mystery of the movie is great. The characters are quirky and interesting. And it also tears apart a whole bunch of movie cliches and tropes around crime films in a very amusing way. It's a funny movie. It's a good action film. And it's the start of that resurgence in Robert Downey Jr.'s career, just before he did Iron Man, when he was starting to get his shit together and starting to show that he could carry a movie, even though there, of course, Val Kilmer is the co-star in this one. It's a real great, fun action flick to enjoy at this time of year when you don't want anything too grim and heavy. The other Shane Black movie I've got for you, I've only got this on DVD. Samuel L. Jackson, Gina Davis, The Long Kiss Goodnight. It's about a woman who's a housewife and she had amnesia in the past and discovers that she used to be a very, very good assassin. Lots of good action scenes, lots of character stuff between Samuel L. Jackson and Gina Davis. They've got a nice chemistry together. That one you should check out because it's just fun, and that's the whole point. You want movies that are going to entertain you and amuse you during this time of the year. And these ones definitely do. The last ones I've got for you are movies that are good to watch with kids. Now, the first one, of course, would be 5,000 Fingers of Dr. T. It's got Hans Conried and it's got Tommy Rettig. It's based on a Dr. Seuss story. And the visuals on this and the songs and the music and the kind of child's point of view that the 5,000 Fingers of Dr. T takes is really great. You can watch this one with kids. Don't know how modern kids would accept it, but There's a lot of fun to it, and Hans Conried, of course, steals the movie as Dr. Terwilliger. And yeah, he's one of those villains that you love to hate because he's just so unashamedly and cartoonishly evil that you can't help but love him. So that's one of them. So the next one I've got is a couple of Disney films from the 1940s. And one of the things that Disney did with its movies, to a certain extent, throughout the 50s and 60s, was they were very monocultural. They were very kind of white, middle American kind of movies. But these ones weren't. These were part of that Pan-Americanism that came out during the war and just afterwards, where America and American media embraced multiculturalism, at least as far as Central and South America is concerned. So they are Saludos Amigos, which is a series of linked up short films, and The Three Caballeros. Now these two, which are on Disney Plus, by the way, I love a lot. I like the animation in them. It's really fantastic. There's some really great evocations of other cultures. And the stories told are told from the viewpoints of those other cultures using artists, and by artists I mean singers mostly and dancers, from South American cultures. And The Three Caballeros and Saludos Amigos get forgotten when people talk about Disney animation, but for me, they were very much experimental by Disney, and they were also Disney trying new things and just seeing where they could take things. There's a merge between live action and animation where one morphs into the other in Three Caballeros, which is one of my favourite moments in animation. It really is a fine thing. And for me, they still hold up. They're a little self-conscious as far as the kind of portrayal of other cultures is concerned, but there's an honesty to them, and there's the start of things that led right up to the modern day and movies like Encanto. Three Caballeros, Saludos Amigos, good stuff. And the other one I've got is featuring the Glenn Miller Orchestra, 1940s wintertime fun with Sonia Henny and John Payne, Sun Valley Serenade. Now this one's very much a 1940s musical. It's got some locations in Sun Valley in Idaho, which shows you what ski vacations were like in the 1940s. All the equipment's different, all the clothing's different. But this one's fun. You also get Milton Berle in there in an early role. I kind of like this one. It's a kind of vulgar pleasure, and it's very kind of middle of the road 1940s, but it's a lot of fun as well. So they're my recommendations for watching between Christmas and New Year. There's going to be a lot more that I probably will watch, but these ones are the ones that I'm really focusing on at the moment. And when I need to sit down and binge, I'm going to sit down and binge those. So anyway, enjoy your holidays. People have already celebrated Hanukkah, so I won't say Happy Hanukkah. But Merry Christmas if you celebrate that, Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate, Yule, any of the pagan celebrations, whatever your bag is. I hope it's a good one, and I hope that you come through it okay, and I hope that you get some of the things you want if presents are appropriate to your culture. Thanks very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, leave a comment, and hit the notification bell. You can also support the channel by donating at patreon.com/paleocinema. I've got some giveaways for people who are patrons, which I'm going to be giving to people in January. And there's about $300 worth of physical media I'm going to be giving away to the Patreons during January. So you've still got time to get in there and join up at patreon.com/paleocinema. And it may well be worth your while to do so. So on that note, look after yourselves, stay safe, watch some good movies, watch some bad movies. Don't go to see the second Avatar movie 5 times, watch something else. And I'll catch you next time.